All right, looks like we're live. Let's do this. So in today's episode, what we're going to be trying to figure out how to do is heads up display. We already kind of did a portion of this when we did um, the health bars on the scorpions. So let's, as a quick refresher, let's just watch what happens in our game right now. We've got these towers. I can add towers. There were some bugs which I have not fixed, which is that the towers will continue to shoot at each other if they're within range of one another because they can't differentiate friend from foe at the moment. They can only say, "Oh, there's another thing within range of me." So as you can see, the archers are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and you can see some debugging output that I've got down here. But they're going to keep shooting. I'm not going to worry about that right now. That's just a small logic thing. What we are going to try to do though is show a heads up display. So let's think about what we want to display. What are things that users or players rather need to know while they play our game? First off, we may want to have some concept of resources, like you need so much gold to purchase a tower. We may also want to have health for our village or how many villagers we have left so we can have that sort of concept that we're defending something from all of these monsters, and that's why we need to have these towers defending it. I say let's just say we start out with that, and then if we still have time, then we will add something that shows. We may be able to get into showing waves, but we're gonna start like what is gonna come next. But this might be a shorter episode, so right now we're just gonna focus on the heads-up display. Typically, you'll find that the heads-up display is located in either the top left or the top right, um, or the center. So typically it's at the top of the screen, uh, making it easier to keep your eyes on while scanning the rest of the map. So let's go ahead and get going. All right, so there's it's actually a lot easier because of the type of game that we're making. Heads-up displays uh, in games where the camera can pan around a much larger level can be more complicated because they have to remain in a consistent position, but the camera will be moving around, so you can't just drag a node onto it. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to I'm going to create a player character. I may have to update the title of this video, but I'm wanting there to be a player. So let's just make this the hero. And it would be cool if, as the player of this game, perhaps you had an avatar in the screen. So let's go ahead and think about how we might do. So first off, obviously you have to have some sort of graphical representation of your player. So we're gonna come into and use a creep as the hero. Why not? See what this guy looks like. Ooh, no, we don't want to look like creep. One's a scorpion. What do you look like? Ooh, kind of spear wielding wizard guy. Not great either. You're kind of funny. That might work. Let's keep number 4 in mind here. We look at 3? No, we don't want to be a troll, although that could be fun too, right? You look like a bearded goblin. See here. No. Alright. This is not very efficient. So far, number 4 is looking like our best option. Because all of these, most assuredly, do not look like good guys. So, number 4 it is. You know what? Let's take a quick look at our assets and see if maybe there's some more that I might be able to do. Because I didn't bring everything in. I only brought in um, creeps and stuff. So we, let's not waste too much time. Okay, good call. We're just gonna add an animated sprite, and this is going to be the graphical representation of our player. As with all animated sprites, we have to create a new sprite frames and then click on it, and it will give us in this animation editor. And really, we're just gonna have walk. We may need walk up and walk down. I'm thinking those are going to be our primary. I need to be consistent. Let's look at what we did in the scorpion. Okay. This guy, okay, everything's lowercase. I didn't bother with walk up and down, so we'll just have walk, and we will let code do everything else. That'll work. Okay, and we'll probably have attack, and we'll probably have idle, and probably have hurt. I know, not doing heads up display. We will. Promise, those are just gonna be so easy. Okay, so we've got all these attack sprites. Wow, that is a lot of them. Go ahead and see what that looks like. Animation, attack. Oh, I dragged those all into hurt. Do that again. Attack. And let's see what it looks like. Whack. Hey, that's solid. I like it. It should not be looping, but that's a control we hit here so that it only plays once. So watch, now I hit playing, and if I toggle playing in the game while it's actually working, you'll see it loop. Now I'm going to turn on looping just for the sake of, I want to be able to increment the speed here. Let's take a look at if we do 28. Wham. Yeah, that looks pretty solid. It's nice and smooth. I like it. Let's turn off loop. Now it will only play one time when we hit the attack button. Let's show. Oh, we need a die animation. And the good thing is, once we build a real hero, we can reuse these sprite frames in the creep version of this exact same character. So, wow, there are 19 frames for the death as well. And, oh, flat. Okay, so we'll do 30. This also should not loop. And now he's dead. And you can see here, check this out. So if I click, oh, it's on playing, so let me turn that off. And you can actually control the frames frame by frame for the animation here. And so you can kind of control it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Hurt. Let's do hurt next. Hurt already had all of these, which I'm going to rapidly hit delete on all of that. Okay. So we'll grab all of the hurt frames. Great. So let's take a look at what that one looks like and hit playing. And again, let's go ahead and bump up the speed. Ow, ow. Okay. So he's got that. And again, that shouldn't loop either. Idle. Wow. How are there 19 frames of idle? Let's see what that looks like. That's a lot of idle animation. Boom. And hit playing. Let's see. Yeah, that looks like a whole lot of nothing, doesn't it? I wonder if everything has 19 frames so that they all take the same. Oh, he's moving. Speed it up. Hey, that's pretty cool. I dig it. All right, he is moving. And the next one is, oh, jump. Oh, all right, it can jump. We might be able to, well, we can add whatever we want. So we don't have to add a jump, but I'm going to go ahead and add it. Yeah. 30 frames. Boing, boing. Okay, that's great. Yep, I added sound effects. My face. Okay, run. We don't have a run, so let's go ahead and add that. Run. Got the first one selected. So, I mean, I'm kind of going through this process. You're going to find you redo things a lot. And then, it might serve as a refresher. Cool. Run looks pretty cool. And we already had a walk. And now we're finally to the walk frames. Let's go ahead and set up walk. And we'll select walk over here. Okay. Put on loop. Okay, so let's see if there's a real difference between walk and run. Yep, there is. You can notice that his head's a little leaned back when he walks, and when he runs, he leans in the direction that he's trying to go. So, okay, I see there's a difference. So all of these are now set up, and that's going to be pretty cool. So the next thing, we need to be able to move around. So go ahead and do that. We got to give it a script. hero.gd, that works for me. And we have to probably add an area. Yep, with a collision shape 2D. Yep, with a shape. Capsules work really good for these kinds of characters. So, nope, doing a stream. Okay, and we're just gonna move that collision shape so that it actually overlaps with our character. We'll expand it out a little bit and shrink it so that it is not ginormous like that. Okay, that works pretty good. Almost looks like a circle. Either way would have worked. So now, go ahead and extend that out further. We're kind of making a... It doesn't like it because it cannot be more wide than tall. If we want that kind of a shape, we have to rotate this bad boy. So let's go ahead and do that. And so you can see here in the transform that we've got it at 192. 90 would probably be better, so we'll just do 90. Okay, so we've... Hearing some scary sounds in the back. Just kids playing, but wow. Alright, so we'll save this scene, hero.tscn. And... Alright, so we've got all of our animations. Let's go into the scene. So now what we're going to need to do is capture the input. So there's actually many ways to do this. So many ways. I would like to show you my favorite way, which is to use the input map. So here we have UI left, UI right, UI up, UI down. And what's great about doing this is you'll also notice that we've mapped devices to this. So if you were to, for instance, connect an Xbox controller to your computer, then you could set it up so that, you know, left would work the same as hitting the left arrow.
I was going to the bathroom.
All right. And so we've got kids going in and out of the house. They're all playing out on the street tonight. So I'm going to hit close, and that is how you can set up more. So we'll add an attack one here in a second. And let's go ahead, and I think it is set process. You'll notice here's input, right? So we're going to say that's true. And probably what's going to need to happen then is there's going to be a func, and you're going to have process input event. Yep. And so right now I'm doing pass. We can hit save. Nothing's going to happen. But you can do things like this. Is there a switch in this language? There is not. So we are going to be stuck with an if, then, else, all that kind. So we'll do this. We'll say if event dot. Let's see what we're talking about here. You know what? This may be a job for Google. I feel like it is. So we'll say GD script process input. And there's going to be lots of cool things here. Input event, fixed process. There's a couple different ways to do this. There's always many ways to do things. But here we have if event is input key, event key. If event.pressed and event.scan code equals that. But my favorite is this. If input.isActionPressed UI right. Let's just do that. We can just do this in the normal process. Easy day. So instead of process input to true, we're just going to say process. Instead of this, we'll just do process. Okay, and then here we will say if input.isAction. Now here's what's cool. These are a couple of different functions that you're calling, and what they're doing is they're asking the computer, has the player just pressed this key, or just released this key, or is the player currently pressing this key? So that's pretty cool. Now for things like moving around, you want it to be, is the player currently pressing this key? So we're going to use the is action pressed. And then here you have this, you have an option. You can say UI left or down or right. So let's go ahead and set those up. And because we're controlling our hero, let's go ahead and make it so that we will say position plus equals, and we will say export var speed equals, let's do 1.0. I like doing floating points so that numbers behave the way I expect them to. And we'll say position plus equals vector 2, and we'll say speed and 0. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that left is negative, so we're going to actually have to do that, right? So we're going to move to the left. I just like to keep things consistent. So now there's this new logical operator here, elif. That means else if, right? Input dot is action pressed UI right. Okay, there we go. Position plus equals vector 2 speed. Now, because I am impatient, I would like to see if this works. Let's give it a go. Let's go to our level, and we are going to drop a hero into the scene. He's very large, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and try this. So we can walk. He walks very slowly, but I can walk. So now you notice he didn't face the way he was going. So let's go ahead and fix that real quick. Go to the script here, and so if he's going left, what we're going to do here is we're going to say, well, yeah, we'll say scale equals vector 2, and we're just going to control this, -1, 1, and here we're going to say scale equals vector 2, 1, 1, so that he's going to be, because by default he's facing to the right. Normally that's how the image actually is, and we need to actually flip it so that he's facing left. Let's go ahead and try this again. So if I push to the left, you'll notice he's facing to the left, and if I then push it to the right, he's facing to the right. And you probably noticed that something strange is happening. It looks like he kind of flips, right? Let's take a look at why that is, because you can see, like, it's like his center point isn't where you would expect it to be. And in fact, that is absolutely the case. So let's go ahead and move these two things such that the center is there. Let's go ahead and see if that made it better. Just gonna kind of flip him around a little bit. Yeah, that's look way better, right? And then he's also quite slow. So let's go into our level, and you know what? Let's make his default speed a little higher. Let's make it 5. 5 seems to be a decent speed. So let's go ahead. Wow, it's very fast, but that's okay. You're a hero after all. I can only move left and right, so let's go into the script. And you know what? I bet you guys can guess what comes next. In fact, I'm just going to take this, copy it, paste it a couple of times. There's going to be a UI up, and look at that, it knew what I meant. And there's going to be UI, can you guess it? Down. And what might be the difference? Well, down is positive, so we're just going to go speed. And we don't want to move the X value while he's moving down, so we don't need to do that. And we're going to say negative speed. So now the trick here, we don't have any animations specifically for moving up or down. We don't have any imagery for the back of the player's head like we did for the archers. So in fact, what we might have been able to do for the sprites is used some of the tower sprites for the archers. I don't want to get back into combing through assets, but we've got all these great archer guys down here. And we could totally use some of those. And in fact, it may not be a horrible idea. But later. See, now the support towers, I think they have little knights. They do not. Thought they did. Stone tower. Let's see. Nope. Yep, okay. Well, there are more assets in the kit that I just haven't brought in, so I'm probably going to comb through that later, but for now we're just going to stick with what we've got. Alright, so we can move now up, down, left, and right, I'm pretty sure. Can I? I can. I cannot, however, do both at the same time. I can only do one or the other. There is no diagonal movement. Let's talk about why that is real quick. So it's not, the computer can absolutely handle multiple key presses at once. But because of the way I structured the logic here, it says if this, then do this, and it does not read the rest. If this, then do this, but it stops there, it won't go to the rest. So if I get rid of all of these, if I get rid of the else portion of that, and I just make them each an if, then what I will be able to do is move diagonally. So that's kind of handy because I can now move diagonally. And I can walk around, and this guy is very large, so let's go ahead and address that next. And then I'm probably going to be done with the hero for at least a little bit. We do need to add a health bar, and if you may remember, the health bar assumes that the parent has an HP value. So let's make sure that our parent has an HP value. We will do something very similar to what we did in the Scorpion one here, where here we've got this HP equals 5. We can make ours similar, but we'll be able to adjust that later, so let's go ahead and do that. So now we've got an HP value, so that means that we can add a health bar scene to our player. Oh, it's very large, isn't it? Okay, so we don't want it to be that big, so we will scale it down to 0.25. Yeah, 5. You know what? Actually, that looks pretty good. Let's do a 0.5. 0.5. Okay, that's a bit big. Maybe 0.35 was good. Let's move that to a good spot. Okay, looking pretty good for our health bar for our guy. It doesn't need to be so thick, so let's do 0.1. Oop. Nope, too thin. 0.25. There we go. Okay, I like it. That'll work. Now, it should just work, but our player doesn't know how to take damage yet, and that's fine. And also, you know, I've assigned that, but nowhere in here does he have a take damage function or anything like that. And you'll notice that the take damage function here is actually pretty solid for what we need for our hero, so I'm just gonna steal it straight out of our Scorpion and add that function here. And we even have an animated sprite of that called die, or an animation called die, so that's good. You'll notice that I did a mistake. I had one of my exported values, I called it speed with lowercase. This is kind of the power of being consistent, is it allows you to kind of copy code from one part of your project into another, and so I just rather keep it consistent here. So now this says that if I'm walking, obviously this is pretty irrelevant for this guy, so we don't actually have to set the speed, because these guys don't just move on their own, they only move if you tell them to. Okay, but it's still good to be consistent. So now our guy can take damage, and when it does that, it will call health bar.update HP with our current HP. By default, HP, the script for that guy, update HP, it automatically does that, and by default it sets max HP to your HP on start. So it's always going to know what the max HP is what the player started with. Probably not making a lot of sense, but we went over it in the previous video, so you can always refer to that. Okay, so we've got our hero. Now let's shrink the overall size of this guy because he's giant. Okay, I think that might be a better size in the game. Oh wow, you see how large he is? That is just not right. Now let's look at why that happened. So when I move, I set our scale here, right? And so I set the scale here to -1, 1. So what we may want to do is just say var left, face left, and equals vector 2. Well, Face right is just scale. We can just say negative scale. Nope. We'll do on ready var face left equals negative scale. On ready var face right equals scale. Now, that's very interesting that it was yelling at me there for a second. And then what we can do is instead of, now we can do face left and face right. And we don't have to actually modify the scale when we're going up or down. That isn't, it's not a part of this. So that works. Let's hit save and let's see what happens. Let's see if that fixed it. Yep, now it automatically keeps the scale. So the beauty of doing it in this way is that now our hero will automatically, oh, well, you'll notice he's walking in place. That's not great. If we're not moving, we don't want him to be walking. So, we can now do this. We can say animated sprite dot play walk. Right. Pretty sure that's what we called it. Yep, walk. And for any of these, that's going to be true.
Dad?
I'm doing a stream right now, buddy.
Sorry.
Yep, it's all good. Sounds like fun. All right, so here we're doing. It can be washed, yes, but I suggest you do not get it dirty in the first place if you can help it. Okay, because it won't last so long if you wash it. Yeah. So try to keep it clean if you can, okay? You can play hide and seek in it. It's pretty durable fabric. You'll be all right. Use it. If it gets dirty, it gets dirty. Yes, you can. It would be better. Mm-hmm.
Alright, then I'll hand wash it.
Okay. You may want to ask Mom. Mom would know better than me. Okay. So, we need to make it so that it plays the walking animation if any of these is pressed, right? So let's say input is, I wonder if there's anything that's like, is anything pressed? And I don't see anything for that. Kind of going all over the place here, aren't I? So for all of these, we want to play the walking animation, and otherwise we do not want to play the walking animation. So we will do this. We'll just say var moved equals false. We'll say, or moving. Okay, so we're just going to do moving equals false, and then for each of these we'll say moving equals true. And that's great, dude. And here, so for all of these, we're going to say moving is true. And as you can see, I'm struggling with my indentations here. Okay, there we go. And then we'll say if moving, then play walk, else animated sprite dot play idle. All right, let's see what happens if we do that. Our dude's just idling. We're walking. We're idling. We're walking. Hey, so that seems to work fairly well. Now we need an attack. So let's go ahead and throw the attack in there. So we do not currently have an attack. So let's go to our project settings. I'm gonna have to change the title of this video. This is gonna be the subject for this one. So you can see there's this UI accept, but you know what? Let's add our own. We'll just say attack. Say okay. And right now we're gonna add a key. And let's make it the spacebar. Okay, that works. Now if I hit the spacebar, I'm going to attack. Well, not yet, but soon. So, we may need another state machine, which is var. And you know what? Let's do this. Var Yeah. Yeah, we'll just do moving. It's false, var attacking equals false. Okay, so now I can keep track of if I'm moving and if I'm attacking, and maybe we can come up with some ways to do it later that are better. I will think on that. So here, if I'm moving and not attacking, then play walk. Elif attacking animated sprite dot play attack. Okay, and if I'm not attacking or walking, then I'm gonna idle. That seems like sound logic. So let's say if input dot is action just pressed, not is action pressed, but is action just pressed, so that the player has to continually hit the key to attack. Okay, so is action just pressed, attack. Then we will just say attacking equals true. All right. So let's hit save and hit refresh, and let's try it out. Whack. Oh, why can't I attack it? I turned upside down. How silly. Why did I do that when I went left? That's why. Because facing left inverted the scale. I see what happened there. Vector 2, -1, 1. So by multiplying a vector by another vector, what you're doing, let's talk about this real quick. What am I doing? Well, scale is, let's say it's 0.25, 0.25. So then it's going to multiply 0.25 by -1, turning it into -0.25, 0.25 by 1, turning it into just 0.25, leaves it alone. So this means that this one only reverses the x-axis of our scale. So that is why that should fix the fact that my guy turned upside down. He doesn't do that now. Now, for whatever reason, I can't do anything. Oh, let's think about what happened here. So in our machine here, I am not setting attacking to false. I am not setting
Dad, I wasn't doing how to sit in
this whole stream's a mess.
I know.
Oh, don't worry about it. That's how streams are.
No, it's fine. I mean, we're getting through some good stuff. If you'd like to join me, that would be great.
Go and play outside.
Or you can play outside, because that is probably greater. Enjoy. So let's think about this. If we have just pressed attack, then we need to say attacking equals true. But we need to capture when that is done. So we need to go into our animated sprite and go to the node tab, and it says animation finished. Let's go ahead and connect up something to that signal, and then we'll say here we have this animation finished function, which is pretty great. What we're gonna do in the animation finished function, let's look at the help here. Okay, so search help, animated sprite, animation finished. Yeah, let's take a look. Animation finished, emitted when an animation is finished, when it plays the last frame. If the animation is looping, the signal is emitted every time the last frame is drawn. We have used this before. So now we are going to use it in our hero, and we can say if, and we can say animated sprite dot animation equals die. Then we will say, or not die, what am I thinking? Attack, then attacking equals false. Okay, that'll make it so that if our, oh, do you see it? I was like, what happened there? Why is it red? It's red because it says unexpected assign. It turned into a hand. What happens if I click here? Nothing? Oh, it just takes me to that line. So a single equal sign is an assignment, meaning that I'm setting animation to attack. If I do a double equal sign, that is checking for equality. So I needed to be a double equal sign there. So let's try this again. If I attack, it should set attacking to false, and I should be able to attack once the animation is done. Now, the challenge here, I need to make it so that you cannot move if not attacking. So all of these things that we do in here where we're moving our guy needs to be only possible while we're not attacking. So hit save. Alright, so we're slowly getting the logic in here for our character. You cannot move and attack at the same time, and you can only attack as quickly as the animation happens. So that's pretty good. I got into a strange state because it's not working anymore. I can't walk. Why not? Something happened. I didn't... Let's look at our debugger. Let's see what happened, because somehow we got into a weird state where... Interesting. It's... Oh. If attacking. Boom. Let's just try that. Because I was hitting the attack key repeatedly, and it got into a place where it suddenly couldn't undo it. Well, there we go. That's pretty good. Yeah. Now we just need to make it so our guy can kill a scorpion. So let's do it. We've got it so that we can walk around, it can idle, and it can attack. So that's pretty neat. Just a couple of if-then statements here. The next thing that we need to do is... now we need to make so that when we attack, it actually does something. So, let's go ahead and make a function. We've got a function for taking damage, but we need to have a function attack. And in our function attack, I'm going to... We need to make it so that we can look at what is in our area. So we can say something like area2d dot get overlapping bodies. That should get us a list of all of the things that are currently in our area. So we can say for enemy in that list of get overlapping bodies, and then we can say if enemy dot is in group enemies. Remember, we have all of our enemies in the enemy group. Then so now it will attack any enemies in the enemy group. So we will say enemy dot take damage. Now, we have to be careful here. We have to refer to our archer tower. So let's go have a look at that. We've got this acquire target, start firing, stop firing. Is it our archer dude that actually damages things? Front, goal position. Where did we do the damage on our target? I swear we have some way that our scorpion is getting damage dealt to it. And it happened... target. Fire at target. And it assigns this. So we need to do something like that. So we need to say in our hero, we need to get a weak reference to the thing that we're trying to attack, just in case it dies on us. And then we need to call target get ref take damage. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So we'll say target equals weak ref enemy. And you might be thinking, why am I going through all that trouble? If a tower kills the guy as I hit attack, and it just gets just the wrong time, then this target may get removed while I'm in the middle of my attack. And then when I try to call enemy.take damage, it's gonna cause the game to crash. So I have to say target dot get ref dot take damage. How much damage? Well, that's up to us, isn't it? So let's go ahead and make a damage value, and let's make that up here so we can export var damage equals 2. Okay, so we've now got the ability, maybe, to attack. Let's see if this works. Let's take a look at our archer tower again. So when we say acquire target, it calls the attack range dot get overlapping bodies, which is basically what we're doing. And then we say if the size is greater than 0. Oh, that's smart. I like what we did there. Start firing at, okay, cool. So we'll look at our hero, say in our attack function here, you'll notice we did a similar thing. So we just said, well, this should be roughly the same. It can't loop through something that's empty, so if there's nothing around us, then it won't work. So, okay, so I attacked and nothing happened. Ah, I missed, maybe. Or maybe I'm just can't do it. I don't think it's working. My towers are certainly doing a good job, but my guy is not. Oh, hey, look at that. Nope, I didn't do it. Okay, what's happening here? Let's remove that tower from the screen so that I can better debug what's happening. So, let's grab that archer tower. Is this the guy I'm talking about? Yeah, we don't need you anymore. Be gone, sir. Okay. We've got a hero in town. Nothing's happening. And I can't attack. And the towers are working just fine, but now I can't move. And my guy is frozen in time. So again, we got in a weird state somehow, and I'm not entirely sure how. I think it's this is in group thing that we keep running into. I don't see this didn't happen. This didn't work for me the last time either when I was trying to make it so that the acquire target only cared about things that were in the group enemies. So am I doing something wrong with that? Let's find out. Groups. Scorpion. Group. Enemies. It's totally in the group enemies. Let's try this. Oh. Yeah. Should totally be fine. Alright. So right now y'all are probably thinking, why haven't you figured this out? And that's a great question. If enemy.isInGroup enemies, let's just print I've got an enemy. I just want to see if it's even getting an enemy. It seems like it isn't, so nothing's happening. Okay. Why not? Output. Yeah, we got nothing. So, we don't have any enemies. Now, let's see if... Oh, I wonder. Is this even getting anything? Print. Looking for enemies. There are other ways, but I would like to do it this way. Boom. Boom. Output. I'm not seeing anything here. Nothing on the errors, no output. It's like this get overlapping bodies straight up isn't working. And it could be, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Get overlapping areas. Guys, I'm silly. So there's a difference. A body is like a kinematic body, like a physics body, but we don't need that because we're not using any physics here. And the other trick here is that this enemy isn't in a group. The parent of the enemy area is in the group enemies. This was what was plaguing me last time I tried to do this. So here's why that's the case. Let's go ahead and look at the Scorpion. This is the hitbox. and it is the child of Scorpion, and you'll notice Scorpion is what's in the group enemies. If I select Hitbox, it's not in the group enemies. So I have to, whatever I'm looking at here, I'm getting the areas, I'm getting the hitboxes. So when I want to call attack on them, I actually have to call get parent. That not plague me here. When I actually attack this guy, and it says target get ref. And if I say fire at, target equals weak ref get target. Okay, and the archer tower says fire out target dot get parent. Yep. So that's what was getting us here too. So actually, let's go ahead and fix kind of two things at once. It's not is the target in the group, it's target get parent dot is in group enemies. That may have fixed the problem where the archer towers shoot at each other. Oh, maybe. Let them go. Just let them keep shooting. Let's see if they shoot at each other after all things have left the map. Are they shooting at each other still? Why are they still shooting at each other? You guys are foolish. Stop firing at one another. Ugh. I have some unruly troops. If archer target targets start firing at so that should only ever, well, okay, it's because it never got stop firing, never got called. That's my guess. And why would that be the case? Well, I don't know. If there's no targets, it should be calling stop firing. Let's go ahead and do that. And archer.stop firing, archer dudes, when I call start, okay, yeah. This firing's false, and I tell it to play that. Okay. So, I just added the done firing thing here. And it could be that they're not firing at each other. It could be they're just, this is never getting called for whatever reason. So let's go ahead and try that. I'm just gonna add a couple of towers here. Done firing. Let's see if after all the enemies are gone, if we see them say, I'm done firing again. They don't. They just keep firing. But at what? So, another useful thing. Look, they never say they're done firing. Never, never, never. So, that's never getting called. And I think I see why. Because it says here, if target size is greater than 0, then you're done firing. Right now, we need to there we go. We'll try this. So what I just did is I made it so that if it ever gets down to here, it means that it went through all the things in range, it decided none of them were in the group enemies, and that's the only way it can get here, so it'll stop firing. If there's nothing there, it'll stop firing, and if it gets all the way through all the things that are there and none of them were enemies, it should call stop firing. So let's see. I'm kind of bouncing around because I'm ironing out the kinks in the game right now. Let's see. Okay. Now, are they still shooting at... What are you shooting at? Okay. They stopped. Oh, look at them go. I want to know what this guy was shooting at, because there's no way he could see that scorpion way down there. Or was there? So, let's show you another useful thing. In debug, you can say visible collision shapes. That's pretty handy. So, if I am playing the game now, let's add a couple here. And you can tell that I can't see my detection area because it isn't a collision shape. But it should have been a collision shape. Why can I not see it? Archer tower, can't I see? because I had it hidden. Boom. Yep. So now you can see the area that the archers can shoot. You can see where there's the overlap, and that's just part of the game engine. So now you'll be able to tell like how far down they can see. And sure enough, this tower can see a guy down here. So you shouldn't see him. Look, there you go. He started as soon as that guy's circle touched this guy's circle, because we're looking for overlapping. They don't have to be fully within the range. They just have to be overlapping the range. So now when this guy walks in, it should not begin shooting at it. Okay? So we're getting close. Now, you'll notice I'm not idling when I stop. I attack, and I'm still walking. So now we've got the towers figured out. Let's go ahead and continue. Let's go ahead and continue making it so that our hero behaves properly. So, as we are walking, left, right, up, down, attack, we're never telling it to idle, if not attacking. If is moving and not attacking. So if I'm not attacking, then I can do all of these. And if I'm moving and not attacking, then walk. If I am attacking, then play attack. And if I'm doing none of those things, then I should be playing idle. At some point here, I introduced a logical flaw. Why is it that now when I push play, I walk, I never stop walking? It's like I'm never moving, never stops being moving, and I never... Oh. That's, I think, what it is. Okay. So if I'm not attacking, then all of these things... Yeah. Okay. Still can't hit bad guys, but at least I can now walk around and I can attack. Okay. That's wonderful. Now, we're close. We're so close. And then we're going to call it. I didn't end up doing the heads-up display, but it's okay. This is way cooler. We have a guy that can walk around and attack enemies, and our towers behave properly. We'll do a heads-up display later. Okay, so for enemy in get overlapping, you know what? Could it be that easy? Could it be that I just have a typo? Areas. Why did that not cause me an error? Attack. Why? Y'all, I haven't been hitting. I haven't been calling attack. Well, let's try it now. I wasn't even calling attack. I was like, why didn't that cause an error? Oh, there we go. That's better. See this? Target. I don't even know how target got assigned, to be honest. It's saying non-existent function take damage in base area 2D. Well, target equals weak ref enemy dot get parent. So now, this is actually highly unnecessary at this point because we are quite immediate on the take damage. But the towers, nah, let's just be safe. We'll do this. So we can do weak ref enemy and then get parents. So that ought to do it because our enemies should all have a take damage. Yes! Huzzah! I defeat you. Now we can't attack a lot. Thunk, thunk. You know what would be cooler is if when they took damage, maybe they got knocked back. That'd be cool, right? I'm just having way too much fun having a little guy that I can go hack at scorpions with. Get out of here. Don't make me defeat you. I also seem far too large, but that's besides the point. Like, doesn't it seem like this guy should be, I don't know, roughly the size of the doorway to a hut. It seems like that should be the case. And maybe he should move a little faster. I don't know, but let's try to scale him down a bit. We'll call him 0.1. Boop. He's very tiny. 0.1. Save. Let's see if he's too small now. I'm tiny. I fit. These are giant scorpions. They're so big. Oh, it happened again. Okay. This keeps happening. I will have to investigate later. I'm in that state where I can't move. But that's okay. We can figure that out later. Right now, I think we've gotten to a good stopping point, and I've definitely meandered down paths that probably don't make any sense, but hopefully you've enjoyed it, watching me fumble my way through making this game more playable by adding a player-controlled character to the game. So what game is complete? Yeah, that's a better size. I'm like kind of the size of a scorpion. Let's knock the scorpions back and set a stun timer. Okay, I know I said we were done, but I totally want to do this. So we're going to add a timer. That is not what I wanted to add. A multi-mesh instance. I don't even know what that is. I'll have to read about those. Okay, a timer. We're going to call this stun timer. And we're going to make it so that when you hit one, it gets stunned for a half of a second. That'll be cool. We'll call it a one-shot. It won't be an auto start. So there we go. And we will then have it so that we'll say var stunned equals false. Okay. And we will then say func stun. And we'll say stunned equals true. And in process, right here, none of this can happen if it is stunned. So we will need to say if not stunned, then do all these things, right? Because we don't actually want them to move if they're stunned, and we don't want them to, do any of that stuff. So if they're stunned, then that. Now, how do they get unstunned? We select our stun timer, go to node, go to signals, timeout, connect, stunned equals false. Now, how does this timer know to run? Inside of stun, we set stunned to true, and we say stun timer dot start. Should be it. Now, I need to make it so that when they take damage, they get stunned. So let's go ahead and down here, we'll say stun. Now, it should be now that when I hit a scorpion, he won't move for a half a second. He'll be like, ow. It makes it seem like you're I hit spacebar too fast. It's because I'm hitting spacebar too fast, because I'm like, attack, attack, attack. And that's making me get in that weird state. So, attack. I do have to type it right. If I'm not attacking and I just pressed attack, then attack. Let's see if that helps. Although, that should have already been covered. Okay, I'm just gonna sit here and spam attack. Oh, I got it. I got into the weird state again. Okay, I'm gonna have to track down why that's happening. This is already handled up there, so this is completely and utterly superfluous and shouldn't have been needed. Oh. Yeah, let's not look at this state, and let's just say if animated, what? Well, it did seem to be that. Oh yeah, I defeated them all. I'm a stud. All right, let's make them run. And I swear, I'm gonna have to call it after that. Let's make it so he can run. So we'll go into our project settings. We'll make it say run, add. Let's make it so that if I'm holding left shift, there we go. Shift, that'll be my run key. And then here, right here, we're gonna multiply speed above this. So we'll say if input dot is action pressed. Again, this is action pressed. Run. Nope, that is not what I said. Run. Nope. What are you doing? If I've said pressed, then speed times equals 2. We'll make them run twice as fast. Else, we must also keep track of if we're running. Fingers, you're not behaving. If running, so here so we'll set move speed to speed, but here, if we're running, then we say move speed equals speed times 2. So that way we're moving, and we'll say running equals true. Else, move speed, no, equals speed, which is just our default speed, and running equals false. I'm not really gonna do anything with that yet, but maybe we could. And then down here, you see all these spaces where we said speed? They actually need to be move speed now. And what that lets us do is, it lets us keep track of what the default speed was that we set for this guy, but also allows us to, oh yeah, so running works, but remember, there's actually a run animation, so let's go ahead and throw that in there. So, if running, animated sprite dot play run, and then here we'll say else animated sprite dot walk. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. So if I'm running, you should see my guy lean forward, and if I'm walking, he's kind of leaned back. Yeah, totally. And it looks like for that animated sprite for the run one, I want to bump up the frame rate on it. It's just not fast enough for the movement speed that we've got. So that's another thing. I could probably stand and bump it up a little higher. Gotcha. You can't escape me. Now, we don't take damage yet, so it's a really one-sided fight. But between my friendly towers and my trusty sword, these scorpions don't stand a chance. Okay, well, I'm feeling pretty good about the progress we made today. We didn't do a heads-up display at all because I totally got sidetracked by my desire to be able to do something while the game was playing. We did fix the towers. We do have a player character. This game is shaping up. We've talked about how to go into the debug menu and turn on show collision areas so that you can see the blue areas here are what where these towers can see. And well, that's feeling pretty good. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something and it wasn't too circuitous of a route, and all of you guys maybe got something out of this. And please leave some questions or comments in